Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. In Season 2 of Hacks and Hobbies, we're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life who want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. In this episode, I get to speak with Ashley Ann Jones. She's a professional speaker, a social media strategist, a business builder, and award-winning event designer. She has been using social media to grow her audience, to grow her business, and to make an impact in the world. And I got to meet her through LinkedIn, and I really liked what she was doing with social media strategy because that is something that I think I can do. And I was like, let's learn a little bit more of how Ashley Jones got to where she is today. Hey, Ashley, thank you so much for joining and coming onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me. And side note, has nothing to do with anything, but you have one of the most fabulous voices ever.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had to work a lot on it.
Your hard work has paid off, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, what's funny is when I was younger, I would always didn't like the sound of my voice. I was like, is that really me? So then over time, I just got over it. And I was like, I'm just gonna, just keep talking.
Oh no, it was perfect. I actually thought about it. I was like, I'm gonna move downstairs.
Okay.
Because the sensor is not gonna stop. I have 2 events next weekend.
Okay.
So I have a corporate event and then I have a social event. And so I ordered a bunch of new lounge furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And so the delivery guys are bringing it in.
Okay.
Yeah, my team is trying to coordinate. So it's like that could be going on for 30 or 40 minutes. And I'm trying to get furniture in and out and moved around. So that, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So I slide downstairs and normally, there's still sensors here too, but they're not like as noisy as the ones on the main level of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, upstairs when you have more room, the sound bounces off more and then you get more reflection. Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome.
I have like the main level, then I have like my studio area downstairs, and then there's another one up at the top. And so and then my parents here with me in town too. So they're like rummaging around upstairs and my team is out there getting furniture unloaded and stuff. It's crazy.
That's awesome. So what's really cool about event designing is that I can't remember where we left off, but I know my uncle back in California, he's done a lot of event design himself. So he's got an event design business out there. And one of my cousins, he's in Atlanta and he's trying to start up a chapter down there. So it's really cool to see that, you've still doing it and you're still, making it happen, because it's like event management and event design is such a very niche area. You gotta get in front of the people, and then having the right photography and video of everything what's happening, it definitely helps. And social media is where it's at, because that's where you get a ton of promotion.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into becoming a speaker, a social media strategist, and tell me your journey. Like how'd you get here?
Yeah, it's gonna sound like really crazy, but
Hey, we like crazy.
So my BA is actually in finance, and I have a master's degree, and I was working in the corporate world. But ever since I've been little, like I've always been good at design and art and stuff like that. Like I used to win art competitions when I was a little kid, and all of that. It still wasn't is when I was in college is when I realized I actually could get paid to decorate and design stuff and make things beautiful. Because I had been doing it my whole life for all of my friends and family, and then like their friends and coworkers and stuff like that. And so basically I had finished one of my cousins' apartments. She had moved into her first apartment and I was helping her decorate. And some of her coworkers came over and they were like, who's your designer? And she started laughing. She's like, designer? She's like, my cousin did this. I'm like laughing too. I'm like, haha. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? And so she was like, well, will you help me with my place? And I was like, sure. And so then she was like, well, what are you going to charge me? I had never thought about it at all. And
Exactly.
I was like, I'll just do it, no charge or whatever. So I finished with that. And then she asked, could I do a party? And I would help her with a party. She's like, "What is she gonna charge me?" I was
Hmm.
like, "Just pay me whatever you wanna pay me. Just pay me whatever you wanna pay me." So I
So
did it.
generous.
Yeah, I did it. She was really happy. I earned a few $100. I was still in college too.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is great." You know, but that's the first time the little light bulb went off inside of my brain that I could get
Hmm.
paid to do something that I was just naturally good at and that I actually enjoyed.
Hmm.
And then from there, so I was still, on the track. Your parents want you to go to school and get a good corporate job and all of that. So I was still on the track to do all of that. And I actually had started working
Hmm.
at a corporation, but I was still kind of dibble dabbling in my little design stuff on the side, and I was starting to become more serious about it. And so I took a job at a party rental company because I didn't have all the sense in the world, but I knew if it was something that I was pursuing, I should, try and learn more about it.
Be in
And
that
and
industry.
yeah, and I had reached out to other event planners and design companies and meeting planning companies, and I wasn't even looking to get paid. I was like, I would like to intern.
Hmm.
No one would. They were like, no, we don't do that. Blah 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 blah. So I was like, dang, I was kind of getting discouraged. So then I saw this ad for this party rental company, and they just needed a girl to come in and work on the floor. And then I told the guy that owned it, I was like, well, I'm really good at decorating, and I
Hmm.
said I probably could help you rent more of your stuff if you
Yeah.
let me see your displays. So that's what I started doing. And I got
Nice.
to learn a lot about the industry and clients and customers and stuff. And I met another lady that
Hmm.
was there. She was having a party. She was freaking out. She had a very negative experience with another planner. And I
Hmm.
overheard her and I was like, I would love to help you. I can do this. And I had just started my company. I hadn't officially LLC yet. It was still
Yeah.
a hobby. The hobby hadn't quite become a business yet, but it was still a hobby.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I was like, and I was showing her like my little work and stuff. And she was like, and again, there was a question, what are you gonna charge me? I don't know, you know. So I was like, I'll just do it and you just pay me what you think is I said, you just pay me, what you think is worth. I
Yeah.
finished the party and I didn't realize when I was doing it, she was in the process of regenifying a whole entire neighborhood. So she was throwing this big party and she was doing this installation of art stuff. And
Hmm.
I finished it up. She was very pleased. And at the end of the night, she was like, look, she was like, I know what you did for me is worth way more than what I'm about to give to you.
Hmm.
But, this is all I have right now. She gave me $500. I was so ecstatic. I was like, shut up. So, and then I took that money, and that's when, and I was like, okay, let me be like really serious
Hmm.
about this. And that's when I was like, let me go and file with the Secretary of State and LLC. And, that's when everything started kind of churning in my head to say, okay, I really should try and think about doing something with this. But I
Yeah.
still wasn't ready to leave my corporate job. So I did pretty well, start picking up new clients and customers and stuff like that. I was
Hmm.
still now, I'm doing both and I'm starting to get tired because I'm still working my full 9 to 5 and I'm trying to pursue this.
Yeah.
And I basically prayed to God and asked him for a sign and I booked a 6-figure client. And I was like, I don't know what bigger sign you can get than
Hmm.
that. So I was like, okay, I was like, not coming back to this. I'm not going to renew my contract and I'm going to go full throttle and pursue this event thing. So I blew through all my savings and
Hmm.
I maxed out all my credit cards, all that crazy stuff. I didn't get a loan or any
Yeah.
funding, anything like that. And I had picked up my master's degree, while all this was going on. So I was doing
Yeah.
everything they taught me in a program. I was on billboards and radios, and I was even like on some church fans. I was on
Wow.
doing TV commercials. I was, out sponsoring block parties and community
Hmm.
drives. I was on mailers. I was doing all this stuff. The ROI was trash. It was just complete and total trash. And when I look back at it, I have no idea how I was coming up with that money because I definitely did not have it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I was paying for things, but somehow I was, I was spending $40,000, $50,000 a month, which is relatively small when you think about advertising. But when you're just starting out,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a lot of money. So I was doing all of this stuff, and I was getting clients, but it was like very inconsistent, and I was getting frustrated because I was having a lot of people calling me and doing inquiries and stuff, but they couldn't afford the services. So that was very frustrating. And then I was like, well, maybe I made a bad decision and I need to go back and
Hmm.
get a job. I had found the office space. I had spent all this money into like renovating it and getting it set up the way I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Like, I was doing everything by textbook, what they tell you need to do as far as opening a business.
Mhm.
Um, and it was, like I said, hit and miss. So anyway, and I have been taking these little classes online and learning a little bit about email marketing and stuff like that. But I still hadn't connected the dots of how that would like work for me.
Mhm.
um, and so
I mean, been in the boat.
yeah, I'm just out there floating around. I was on the struggle bus big time. So anyway, but I made a post on my Facebook page one day, and I'll be honest, not a lot happened. I didn't even get 10 likes. I don't even think I got 7 likes on this stupid post, but whatever.
Mhm.
Something told me to make another. I made the second post, same thing. Too much didn't happen. Third post, I didn't even get 20 likes. But what happened? A woman sent me an inbox on Facebook, and she said, "I
Mhm.
see that you do weddings, and the work looks really beautiful." She's asked me. She said, "Do you do birthday parties?" She was having a 50th birthday party. Her
Yeah.
birthday party budget, I think, was like 28,000 and some change. It was
Mhm.
a really good budget for a birthday party, and I think
Yeah.
she was only one to have like 60 or 70 people there.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Girl, I'm already at the venue. What are you talking about?" So, but that's when it was like, ding. I was like, okay. I was like, Facebook cost me absolutely no money, and I was
Mhm.
able to book a almost $30,000 client. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not even
Yeah.
3 posts in. I was like, I've been spending thousands and thousands and
And
thousands and thousands of
advertising,
dollars
yeah.
on advertising, and nothing had, I wasn't getting anything consistent.
Mhm.
But that's what really just kind of sparked it to really make me start diving deeper into social media marketing. And this
Yeah.
was like 10 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Almost 11 years ago. So
Yeah.
all of the information that's out there now, it wasn't there yet. So I was,
Mhm.
just kind of filling it out. There wasn't a book you could read or a
Mhm.
podcast you could go to or a video it wasn't there yet. A lot of
Yep.
people, they were just like, a lot of people thought Facebook was going to be kind of fly by night. They thought it was going to be
Mhm.
here and gone.
Yep.
But anyway, I was just like, I'm gonna figure this out. I was like, I'm making money with it. I was like, I'm gonna keep on trying this. And so I hadn't quite developed a system, but that's what really got me into the social media. And then
Yeah.
over time, I kept booking clients more consistently. And then my colleagues would start asking me, like, what are you doing? How are you booking these clients? How are you
Mhm.
getting them to pay these budgets? Like, what do you know that we don't know? And I would
Yeah.
start sharing the information. And I was still doing the email marketing stuff in the background.
Mhm.
So I was honestly discouraged because, all the email marketers back then, they all had these ginormous lists.
Oh
I
my
have
god. Mhm.
250,000 people over here. I got 1 million people on this list.
Yeah.
You can make $1 million online. You
Mhm.
have 80 million people on your list. And I was like, this is not going to work for me. I
Yeah.
only had 2,500 people on my list, but I was like, I'm going to, just throw something out there, see what comes back.
Mhm.
I did all right. I made a few $1,000s, and I was like,
Yeah.
hey, I was like, look at that. And then I tried it, but I was like, it's probably a fluke. Tried it again. I made, I made another, it was over 10,000. I was
Mhm.
like, oh,
Mhm.
snap. I was like, okay. And so then I called up I'm a big tester. So I called up a couple of my friends and said, hey, y'all, I think I got something figured out. They all
Mhm.
did totally different things. I said, you got to follow my instructions, and everybody was coming back like with 8,000, 12,000, 15,000. And I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, I
Mhm.
know something. I don't have 10,000 people or 100,000 people on this list, and
Yeah.
all of them making money because I was
Yeah.
good at targeting, but I didn't know that yet. I didn't,
Yep.
what I'm saying? I didn't know that that's what I had been
Exactly.
doing yet,
Yeah.
but I was good at targeting. So I incorporated that with the event design company. And so I started establishing myself more as a resource online. So
Mm.
instead of just trying to showcase my work, which I would always showcase my work, I would
Yeah.
just start basically storytelling before it became a thing. Now
Mhm.
content marketing is a big thing,
It
but back
is,
then
yeah.
it wasn't. And so I would just start showing people like, my room or what things looked like before. And I would interview my clients after and ask
Mhm.
them how they felt. And, I would put up little menu guides, just anything
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
helpful to my clients. And so then I was able to keep building this list. And then my
Mhm.
list was working so that it would get me new leads and consultations. So anyway, I started sharing with other people in the industry what I was doing. They were like,
Mhm.
this is super dope. I have still to this day cannot tell you how someone who was not in the event industry found out about me, but they were like, I like what you're talking about. I think this could apply to my business too. And
Yeah.
then from there were other people who were outside of the event industry who would start coming and speaking to me.
Mhm.
Then it got confirmed later. There's another lady. She had this business coach. She was spending $5,000 a month, paying
Mhm.
$5,000 a month to this business coach, but she would always come and ask me stuff. And finally one day I was like, why do you keep
Why are you
calling me?
paying
Like,
her? You
why
should
are
be
you
paying
paying
me.
her, but you're getting advice from me? It's like, wait a minute. Like, what's going on with this? Um, and she was like, because everything you tell me always works. And several other people had told me that too. And so that's when the little light bulb went off in my head that I
Mm.
should start consulting as well. Because I was already doing it. I
Yeah.
just wasn't getting paid for it.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. In fact, I'm recording this on my phone. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So go ahead, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
And so that was like 9 years ago. So the event started 13 years ago. Then, it took me a few years to find that. And I still do events. I never let it go. I still do events to this day.
Because
And
it's in
then,
your passion, it's in your blood,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I love it. And then ago is when the consulting started. And so then I did really, really well with that. And I still am. And
Yeah.
then about 4 years ago, I started doing the late night business show.
Mhm.
And that's when the Periscope app popped up. May have been a
Yeah.
little bit under 4 years ago, but
Yeah.
then everyone could live stream. A lot of people
Mhm.
didn't know Facebook already had live streaming technology before that, but
Did
you
it.
only got access to it if you were like a celebrity or a really popular
Mhm.
athlete, or I think if you had at least 50,000 followers on your Facebook business page, then they
Okay.
would let you live stream. So all
Yeah.
the rest of us, didn't have it.
Yeah.
So Periscope came and they opened it up to everybody, and I
Mhm.
started doing the late night business show because
Nice.
honestly, 11 o'clock at night was the only time that I could be consistent with getting
Yeah.
online. And what it did for me though is not only did I catch all the night owls in the States,
Yeah.
I started picking up international clients. And after that, stuff just went kaboom. I literally doubled my consulting business in six
Wow.
months. It was insane. It was nuts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's my long convoluted story of how I got from that, and then along the way, a college asked me to come and speak, then another college
Mhm.
asked, and another college did, and I just started
Boom.
speaking. Yeah, that was it.
That's really, 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 really cool. Because I need you to connect with my uncle. He's actually just 8 months older than me because
Yeah,
he's my mom's younger brother, right? So I need to connect you with him because he's been doing the event design business for as long as he did the event design for my wedding, which was about 13 years ago, right? So he's been doing it for a while, but he hasn't hit it off where he's got storage filled with decorations and stuff like that, right? He hasn't used social media the way it should be used.
yeah,
He's got a lot of ideas, and he's got a clothing line set up right now. So he's into clothing, designing clothing and whatnot as well. But I think he'll learn. He can apply. The model is there, right? So you
yeah,
can say, hey, this guy's doing blah 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 blah, and he's able to bring in traffic. It looks great from looking at it, like, oh, that's awesome. But then like that click doesn't go in your head. I'm in a totally different space. How can I apply that? But when you share your story about event design and social media and how you're, sharing content and telling the story, and people are like, wow, this is awesome. And then, continuously coming back, and then you have the results doing the targeting thing, right? So that's where he needs to work. So I think there's a really good connection that I can envision.
yeah.
Actually,
And it's
really
not
cool.
just your uncle though, because I at this point I've like literally, worked with thousands of small
Oh,
business owners and
absolutely.
entrepreneurs now.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have that block of how does this apply to me? And I even realized I said it to you earlier, at
Mhm.
first I hadn't figured out, well, how exactly does this work for me? When I was sitting in all those classes with the
Yeah.
email marketers, I still
Mhm.
hadn't figured out how exactly does this apply for me and what I want to do. So
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of people that don't realize that there's actually like a system And if you can start the process of being consistent and kind
Mm-hmm.
of putting a little bit of structure to your content, then
Yeah.
you will get a gigantic return because it's all about establishing yourself as a resource at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things Pat Flynn mentioned is that you want to build a list. If you want to, some of the ways that you can build a list is having those, um, the email magnets. You have a list
Mhm.
of things, these are the things. You have resources page on your website. You have, you're posting videos, or you're basically providing value without asking for anything at all, because you as an expert, you're sharing knowledge of things that work, things that that you've gone through, you've experienced, and this is your journey. And a lot of people like that, like, oh, that's pretty cool, can you do that for me? Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's really amazing, and that's something that I'm working on myself, right? Having figured out, because I've been watching, I've been hanging out on the internet for, over 20 years myself, being on AOL, being on, Earthlink, and, stuff like that, AOL Instant
Yeah.
Messenger. And then Facebook finally showed up in 2003. And it's been a pretty exciting journey so far.
It
So
is.
hopefully this year I get something off the ground and be like, all right, I'm coaching in this area.
I'm sure that you will. Just even the way that you have this series set up, and you're just learning from other people, with
Hmm.
their hobbies and tricks and hacks and how you've been
Yeah.
able to get paid from it. Like there's a ton of people who are amazing at what they do and they're
Hmm.
wandering around the way I was,
Hmm.
13 years ago saying, "Oh, I didn't know I could get paid for this."
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's some people who are smart enough to say, "I know I can get paid, for
Yeah.
whatever this is," because everything's so different now. You know what I'm saying? Like even
Hmm.
13 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you didn't see people millions of dollars
Hmm.
because they're good at slime. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
if you can build an audience or a platform at this day
Any
and age, you can make money doing anything.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
what's really funny is there's the I can't remember the name of it, but there's a report that comes out every year, and they track how much money is spent and how much attention is spent on the different platforms. And they're saying that only 13%. This will end in 10 minutes. So there's a 40-minute time limit apparently in this call. So what they were saying is only 13% of the money is made online,
Hmm.
or of the 100% money spent in retail, 13% is spent online, meaning there's ton of place to growth. Like if
Yes,
you're thinking of starting a business online, this is like, there is no better time than to get on right now,
I agree.
because it's going to get more concentrated, more concentrated, more concentrated as you go forward.
And something else I did want to add that I incorporated a couple years ago, maybe a
Hmm.
few years now. One
Hmm.
of the biggest, best things I've ever done is text marketing. The ROI is outrageous.
Yeah.
And if you're targeting millennials or Generation Y or anybody like that,
Hmm.
we have our phones with us all the
Oh
time.
my God.
Our phones
Tell
are
me about
always
it.
with us, and your open rate for your text messages are typically in between 75 to 95%.
Hmm.
And if even fewer, brands and companies utilizing text message marketing. So the competition is really low
Yeah,
and you can use it to drive traffic for all kinds of stuff. But
exactly.
it's to me, in my experience and what my customers experience, the return has been much greater on text message marketing than even on email, just because the open rates are higher.
Hmm. Absolutely. And something that I've started noticing is that people are putting the Facebook Messenger icon on their website.
Hmm.
So if you want a lead magnet or a booklet from somebody, it's like, click here to get this through your, Facebook Messenger. Now that you have direct connection through Facebook Messenger,
Yeah.
because I think it's cheaper than text messaging, but it's still that same open rate, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
it is, and you can send receipts, shipping information, and you can even automate it. I use a little software called ManyChat right
Hmm.
now,
Hmm.
because I have several different pages, and so I can send out different broadcasts and different messages and stuff for each
Nice.
of the pages. But yeah, it's super dope. And ManyChat is like crazy affordable. The package I started off with, I think, was like $10 a month or something like that.
Hmm.
And it definitely has done a great job for me. My audience base tends though they like Instagram a bit more than
Hmm.
they like Facebook. And so, and I definitely I have a decent audience on Facebook. I think if I have maybe 72,000 followers or something like that over
Nice.
there. But the
Nice.
majority of my audience, they are here for Instagram and they love
Hmm.
live stream. So I
Yeah.
utilize ManyChat, and I do text messaging. And if one day, if they get an autoresponder bot or a direct link message to the DM on Instagram,
Yeah.
I'm really going to be
You're all over
unstoppable.
it.
I'm sure
Awesome.
somebody is working on it right
Oh,
now.
absolutely. I'm sure. I'm
Probably,
sure. I'm
probably
sure. I'm
in
sure.
beta test or something.
Absolutely. All right. This is really helpful conversation. Learned a lot of awesome things. Let's get to the point of, some of the questions that I ask my guests.
Yeah,
What is one hobby that you wish you got into?
Bitcoin.
Get a Bitcoin back in 2011, right?
Yeah.
Get them at 25 cents a coin. Sell them in 2018.
All right, $100 worth of Bitcoin is now worth $1.2 million. It's crazy.
Exactly. It's
It's nuts.
so insane. But so I did some Bitcoin mining back in 2013, and I spent like $500 in buying the Bitcoin miners, and
Yeah,
I was like, I'm kicking myself. Like I should have spent that $500 towards Bitcoins instead
yeah,
of buying a machine that would do the mining. And I made my money back because I mined about $560, and then in 2018, those $560 became like $5,000. So I was like, all
wow.
right, that's not too bad,
Yeah,
made my money back. But then I'm still kicking myself. Like if I had bought $500 worth of Bitcoins back in 2013, which was, I think it was around $25, it would
yeah,
have been a lot more. But
yeah.
hey,
It's crazy.
um, there's still time. There's still time. They haven't mined them all yet. All right. What is your favorite movie or TV show? And if
Oh,
none, how about a book?
gosh. Okay, that's hard because I watch all kinds of stuff. I like
Mm.
docuseries, and right now, one show I'm into that's popular, $1 Million Listing. Even though
Okay.
I'm not a realtor, I just
Uh,
love seeing the unique ways that they come up with
mm,
selling things and connecting with people.
hmm.
And I like their hustle. That's really dope. And then there's this show that's called Alone, and it's a
Okay.
competition. And people go out by themselves, and basically who can live the longest on their own in the wilderness
Interesting.
wins. It's crazy. Like they get attacked by bears,
Oh,
and then there's some people that are crazy crafty. This one guy had built like a sink with running water. He had built like furniture. He had made some shoes out of like twigs, and it was crazy. And then he
wow.
got bored. He was like, okay, well, I can't think of anything else to do. And he
Hmm.
left. He was like, I miss my wife. And he left. He's so with a woman. He was just like, oh, he's like, I can't think of anything else to build or to make. I've conquered this. I'm ready to
Hmm.
go. But I really love the show Alone. It's really cool watching how creative people are.
Nice. Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right. Next one is, who is your favorite superhero?
That's hard. I like so many different superheroes for different reasons.
Hmm.
If I have to pick one, I would say Storm because that was the first woman of color superhero I ever saw, and I thought she was so beautiful when I was a little girl,
Yeah.
and I thought it was cool that she could, control the weather. So I go with
Especially with
Storm.
Halle Berry, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice. All right. Next one is, if you were a board game, what would it be?
Monopoly.
Monopoly. Nice.
I love business.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Monopoly is definitely an awesome game. I don't remember being good at it, but I do remember playing it. And then around some time, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Great book.
and it's an amazing book, amazing book. And Robert Kiyosaki actually built a board game that was in line with Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I got
Yeah.
to play that game. It was really fun.
I'm about to
So
go and get it. I've
yeah,
never played it
absolutely.
before. I've heard about it, but I've never played it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. All right, so where can my audience find you?
Um, get Ashley Ann. I'm at King Ashley Ann on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, not on LinkedIn. I think I'm just Ashley Jones on LinkedIn. If
Okay.
they ever give me a username, I'll be King Ashley Ann over there too.
Okay. Yeah, you should go do that because right now there's a bunch of numbers in front of your name.
Yeah. I need to go and fix that.
Well, Ashley, it was really awesome talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna have to check out your late night show and see you.
Maybe I can get you on as a guest if
Oh
you're up
yeah, that
there.
would be
Like, oh
fun.
yeah, come and check it out and hang out with us. I would love to have you on
Absolutely.
as a guest. Yeah, I'm all about it. Like anything that someone has to share that they've learned,
Hmm.
I'm here for it. That's how all
Awesome.
of us grow and that's how all of us get better.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Hacks and Hobbies. You can find additional information on the guest today on their website, hacksandhobbies.com. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on upcoming interviews with amazing guests.